Where I would start on how on needs for veterans in an education environment is it's just that the overall general attitude of where they're choosing to learn has to be conducive to veterans. You know, 'cause you have sometimes you have campuses that are very anti-war, anti-government, based on the population. You know, which is fine, and that's obviously their right to be that way. But that's kind of one thing we're lucky to have here, is that we have an environment very conducive to veterans, teacher and faculty that realize that veterans are not your average student, and we sometimes, especially at the community college level, which is the only thing I can really speak to, is people forget that you're not 18, 19, 20 years old, that you have all this life experience, and we need to feel comfortable coming to an administrator or a teacher and say, hey, listen, don't treat me like I'm a kid, because I'm not. I've done a lot of things, and so that's kind of the basic goal of any program catering to vets, is to recognize that they are not your average student, and they have specific needs. And like the vet center here, the things that they're able to provide for us is not only just processing of our benefits and educational programs, but it gives us all a place to come together and talk with other vets and just be in that environment back together, because that's where we're the most comfortable. I talk to a lot of guys in here, they're just like, I can't relate to these kids. I don't know what's going. I don't feel comfortable in a lot of places, and so we have the Veterans Club, and we have these few little offices in here that we can come and sit in and just BS and talk and have a good time. And that's really kind of the broad picture of what they need. They just need to have a place to come together and realize they're not like alone in the whole thing. Even your non-combat vets, they feel more comfortable in a vet environment than in a regular general student population.
Just a caveat to that, so there's different military veterans, so there's different types, because there's the combat ones, and for me, I didn't specifically serve combat, so you also have to understand there's people that aren't like fourth generation Marines, or people that are just they did serve, but then they had other reasons why they chose to serve, and then even though they let's say for me, my experience, because I can only speak on my behalf, that I joined mainly because of the educational benefits. So that was a stepping stone to where I ultimately wanted to go.
The biggest illness injury that we're seeing out of this, what's going on over there now, are brain injuries, and then also post-trauma stress, very often in tandem.
What vets are going through and making the transition from a military lifestyle to a academic environment. A lot of them are so used to a structure. There's a command structure that we don't do anything without first being told or asking for permission to do it. They get in these environments where there is no control, there's no organization, and they just start to have issues, and so they want to speak out, and of course they're constantly reminded that I'm no longer in the military, but it creates an internal conflict that makes it very difficult to learn, to participate in that learning environment, because they've got this inner struggle going on that they can't share with anybody because no one else understands them, no one gets them in their class. So I think if there was more in-service training for faculty, not only classified staff, but for faculty, to understand that even the most minor details with classroom management goes a long way with vets, especially returning from overseas, from Iraq and Afghanistan.
Personally, I decided to go back to school because I wanted to become a clinical psychologist. I felt the need because of what I went through when I came back, and just watching a lot of my friends destroy themselves with drugs and alcohol and PTSD and self-medication, and me being there myself. That's the people I wanted to work with. Those I felt it was my duty to go back and work for them and help them through these things. But I do see a lot of guys coming through here with very specific education goals. I want to transfer to a four-year university. I want to get a master's. I want to do this. Some guys don't know, but the majority, I would say the vast majority, have a definite education goal.
Having the veteran center, and then having different activities that will help encourage and take advantage of the veterans' initial interest and motivation to get into college, because if they have that negative experience at the beginning, it's a deterrent for them to continue on. So knowing that you come into an institution that is supports veterans is something that is positive for them.